Health officials says the risk of importing chikungunya into the city will rise in line with global prevalence. Good news for eczema patients as researchers at the University of Hong Kong find an affordable and effective remedy. And Air Canada to resume operation Sunday after government directive to end the strike by flight attendants. Good evening, you're watching Cable News, I'm Quentin Yang. Health officials have warned that as the city now has recorded a total of 9 imported cases of chikungunya fever, the risk of imported infections remains and continues to rise. While local transmission cannot be ruled out in the future, authorities stress that with proper prevention measures, the chance of community spread can be significantly reduced. Jeremy Zhu reports.
Taking to the airwaves, Director of Health Ronald Lam said chikungunya fever is endemic in many parts of the world, with the virus now spread across 119 countries. With over 240,000 infections and 90 deaths reported globally this year, the World Health Organization has assessed the year as a peak period for outbreaks. Lam contributed this to climate change as well as the virus's genetic makeup. He said the current strain belongs to the Central African sublineage, which has been detected in patients in both Hong Kong and mainland. This particular genetic mutation allows the virus to replicate more efficiently in mosquitoes, increasing its transmission rate. Lam also warned that recent erratic weather, including prolonged rainy and typhoon seasons, has accelerated mosquito breeding. Combined with increased travel during Hong Kong's summer holiday peak, the risk of further imported cases remains high. Separately, touching on other infectious diseases, the director said the city is unlikely to see a summer flu peak. However, in preparation for the expected winter surge, the Department of Health is expanding next season's vaccination subsidy scheme to cover long-term patients aged 18 to 49, such as those with allergies, asthma, or diabetes, who are at higher risk of severe complications. Authorities are also planning to introduce nasal spray vaccines in more child care centers, kindergartens, and primary and secondary schools to encourage higher uptake among students. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Following the government's earlier announcement to suspend a contract with a supplier of mainland manufactured drinking water in civil service offices, iCable News crews still found the product in question being served at multiple government venues across the Hong Kong island. Jeremy Zhu reports.
More than 50 empty water barrels were found at the Hong Kong Squash Center in Central. Some were still labeled with Guanyin Shan under the Xinle brand from supplier Xingding Trade. Several unopened barrels of the same brand were also present. Water dispensers inside the facility remained stocked with a discontinued brand. Meanwhile, at Wan Chai swimming pool, over 20 barrels of the bottled water were spotted outside a storage room, most still sealed. Alongside them were around 50 barrels of cool water, produced by A.S. Watson Group, which is a subsidiary of tycoon Li Ka-shing's C.K. Hutchison Holdings. Staff said the Guanyin Shan water supply was primarily for employees, but when asked if it would be replaced with cool water, they claimed no knowledge of the change. When it comes to residents who use these sports venues, this man said he would not overthink the water quality and would drink it when he's thirsty after doing sports. However, this man said he has more trust in local brands. After all, he has been drinking the cool water for so long and hasn't experienced problems. The barrel drinking water had been supplied to Hong Kong Island government offices since June by Xingding Trade. The logistics department recently stated it could not be assured the supplier could continue fulfilling its contract and has partially terminated the agreement, temporarily switching to Watson's water instead. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Police have arrested 2 more suspects in connection with a crime ring exploiting Alibaba's ride-hailing platform A-Map to operate illegal passenger services using unlicensed mainland drivers. The two detainees, a 46-year-old local woman and a 36-year-old mainland woman, were arrested in Lok Ma Chau yesterday for conspiracy to defraud and aiding immigration violations, with the mainland suspect also facing money laundering charges. Both are believed to be connected to a syndicate that was earlier busted, which recruited mainland drivers since mid this year to offer unlawful ride-hailing services for profit. 7 people have been arrested so far. A recent survey targeting employed eczema patients revealed that the skin condition imposes work-related stress, with more than 30% of respondents being ostracized, and as many as 10% quit their jobs as a result. But these patients may soon be seeing lights at the end of the tunnel, as the University of Hong Kong has successfully developed a herbal formula that can work through drug resistance experienced with traditional antibiotic treatment. Evelyn Bai shares more.
Conducted between June and July, the survey collected 240 valid responses from working adults who had sought medical care for eczema over the past 5 years. Over 70% had been diagnosed for more than 4 years, and 52.5% reported 5 or more relapses. Nearly 1/3 of the interviewees said they had been ostracized or mocked by colleagues or supervisors. At least 20% were rejected during job applications due to their condition, or believed their illness hurt promotion prospects. Some 26% had taken time off work because of asthma, while more than 10% noted that they were forced to resign. General practitioner Lam Hon Sing cited genetics, the city's hot and humid climate, immune responses, stress, and allergens as key drivers. Lam also noted that the germ, Staphylococcus aureus, can trigger an inflammatory response once it penetrates the skin. Microbiologist from the University of Hong Kong, Richard Cao, explained that 100% of the eczema patient's skin carries large amounts of Staphylococcus aureus, which has 2 forms and easily turns into a little devil when there is a wound. Cao's team has successfully derived a herbal formula that can prevent the germs from turning harmful, keeping them in a benign state. Their team has licensed the technology to a startup, which has launched an ointment for patients, with no side effects and visible improvement within 1 week. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Following the high-stakes U.S.-Russia-Alaska summit, the United States once again passed the ball to Ukraine as President Donald Trump now lined up with Russian President Vladimir Putin, pressuring Kyiv to accept territorial concessions for a full peace agreement. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky swiftly rejected the proposal, as he plans to meet with Trump for more lobbying on Monday. Writing on social media, Zelensky declared Russia's refusal to accept a ceasefire complicates peace efforts, warning Moscow's stance jeopardizes any lasting peace. His remark came after Trump reversed his position following Friday's Alaska summit with Putin, abandoning calls for an immediate truce. Instead, he now advocates skipping a ceasefire to pursue a full peace agreement, aligning with Putin's long-held position. The proposed deal demands Ukraine cede all of Donetsk, 70% already controlled by Moscow, in exchange for freezing front lines in Zaporizhzhia and Kherson. Russia would also return occupied areas in Sumy and Kharkiv and offer written guarantees against future conflicts. Zelensky immediately dismissed the terms as both constitutionally barred and strategically risky, arguing surrendering Donetsk's remaining 30% could enable further Russian offensives. Diplomatic focus now shifts entirely to Zelensky's White House talks on Monday, with several European leaders potentially attending. Meanwhile, Trump suggested a potential trilateral meeting with Putin and Zelensky could occur as soon as Friday. In a decisive move to halt Canada's largest airline strike in decades, the federal government has demanded Air Canada to resume operations and all 10,000 striking flight attendants to return to duties by 2 p.m. local time, forcing an end to walkouts that began mere hours earlier. The move triggered fury from the labor union, accusing the government of violating workers' rights and siding with the airline. Best Learn reports.
The intervention by Canadian Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu aims to restart operations paralyzed by the strike, which stranded over 130,000 passengers daily and grounded nearly 700 flights worldwide.
This is not a decision that I have taken lightly, but the potential for immediate negative impact on Canadians and our economy is simply too great. Labor disruption impedes the movement of passengers and critical cargo.
Hajdu's intervention would extend the existing contract until a settlement is reached. President of Canadian Union of Public Employees Wesley Lasowski condemned the move as a terrible precedent, alleging it rewarded Air Canada's refusal to bargain fairly. Despite the government's order, full service resumption may take 5 to 10 days, prolonging passenger disruptions. At Los Angeles International Airport in America, passengers face last-minute cancellations, stranding dozens. The strike commenced around 1 a.m. local time Saturday after 8 months of failed negotiations over pay for pre-flight boarding, turnaround times, and ground waits. This prompted Air Canada to lock out attendants and suspend all flights, including its budget airline Rouge. Bess Leung, Cable News.
The death toll from heavy monsoon rains that have triggered flash floods across northern Pakistan has risen to at least 340 people in the past 48 hours, the country's disaster authorities said. The mountainous Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province has been the worst affected. In one village, mourners gathered for mass funerals. This villager said he witnessed around 30 people, including children, men and women, being swept away by floods. Among them was his younger brother. His entire home has been destroyed. Hundreds of rescue workers are still searching for survivors and bodies from the worst-hit villages in the region. Over the coming days, more rainfall is expected in the area, raising fears of further landslides. Onto the weather now. Cloudy with squally showers and thunderstorms. Showers will be heavy at times. Temperatures will range between 26 and 29 degrees. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. And that's our news tonight. I'm Quentin Yang. Thank you for watching. Good night.